We've qualified for the World Cup. Go and compete.
Yeah, there was a definite lag there because I started talking over you or something. Let's just see how laggy we are. Maybe if I say like 3, 2, 1, we'll just say 3, 2, 1, and we'll both say go at the same time, and we'll just see. Okay. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Go.
Oh yeah, no, that was pretty good. Okay, so it was just very laggy. So let's just.
We just got tripped up over ourselves with that. Like, it's all good.
Yeah, this is why we should do the camera. Maybe we'll try it next time.
Yeah,
because you can see if you're about to talk over someone.
Unless your video lags.
I know. Yeah, that's the fucking thing, isn't it? Anyway,
it doesn't end. But yeah, maybe we want to do a quick recap of the past month of football with a little bit of a football. Vaguely football word association game. Get our juices flowing. It would have been for the two of you, but keen listeners would have noticed that Conor Flynn's not here. He's actually off at the Women's World Cup this weekend now to promote diversity in the podcast. So good luck, Flynn. Enjoy, and we'll come back diverse and inclusive and all the rest.
Yeah. So if you're at the Women's World Cup, just keep an eye out for Connor. He'll be knocking around there. Make sure to say hi. Give him a big high five. He loves that.
Yeah. And if you fit a certain criteria, you might end up on the podcast because we are not diverse in the slightest.
No. But all are welcome.
So, yes. Yes.
Just no one wants to come, but that's fine. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead with this word. So explain this word association thing. What are we doing?
Okay, so it was going to be easier, I suppose, with the two of you because it would have been different answers. The idea is I say a word, and the first word that comes to your head is your answer, and you can take a few minutes to, I guess, have a think about what that first word is if you wish. But the idea is just some reactions, and you don't get any points. There's no prizes. You're not contractually obliged to gain anything from this either.
And this isn't going to be sent to some sort of psychotherapist or analysis to figure out whether I'm crazy or not.
Well, you signed the paper in 2016. It's all been going to the
fucking
psychologist.
Hell. Do you know one thing, actually, before we get into this? I was talking to someone about GDPR the other day. That thing is bollocks. And I'm sure anyone who works in any industry realizes that is such a load of bollocks. It's just, my understanding is it's just snowflakes going, how did you get my name? How did you get my number? This should be illegal. And then the whole world made it illegal. And it's fucking ridiculous. Like, what do people have to hide?
I disagree strongly. I actually disagree strongly. I'm one of those snowflakes.
Well, you're the worst. You're the fucking worst.
Yeah, but it's not my name. I mean, my name's everywhere if it wants to be. Do you know, a name isn't private, really, is it? You know, it's chosen for you, or you choose to tell it to people. What the issue is? What the issue is here now? Let me get into this now. Now the problem is the storing and selling of your data. Your name is fine. No one's going to profit from your name unless you're a celebrity, and if you are, then you've got copyright and all that stuff. But like, you now signing into Facebook, and then Facebook selling your location, your demographics, like your age, your preferences, the things you've liked, and storing them somewhere that you don't know where they are. That's why GDPR is important.
And what's wrong with that? Why do you have a problem with Google knowing what fucking, whether you're white or black or male or female?
Because they target advertisements at first. It's a whole thing to try and sell and promote more, which, okay, fine. That's good if I see things that are beneficial, but usually it's not. Usually it's wrong. There's the whole controversy around like Apple products, the Samsung products and whatnot, taking that to the extreme and not just tracking your, browser history through cookies. It's through like audio, through your microphone. Things like random apps that need permissions for your microphone but don't have any audio functions. Like that's an issue, and that's all part of GDPR. Is that if those apps that have been stored by that, you have to give consent. And like, I mean, would you like this conversation to be sold to someone else for a benefit of your intellectual property?
I just don't have enough of a problem with it to warrant the rigmarole of GDPR. And I just remember, like, when I was working in schools, say, I'd go in and I'd say, I have to contact the parent of this child. Can I have their number? And they'd say, no, we cannot give you this parent's number. We have to contact them, and then they have to give it to you. And I was like, okay, I understand. I do get it. But there has to be a little bit of common sense. And the problem with GDPR is there's just no fucking common sense. And if that school gave me the parent's number, the parent could sue the school. And I'm sure it does happen. But, you know, it allows then for those kind of snowflakes to run riot as well.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It is. And I mean, with everything, common sense should prevail, right? But the reason there's no gray area for things like GDPR is because using the same scenario, and like you're obviously a great fella, a stand-up guy. There's nothing wrong with you. However,
thank you.
That was a weird way of saying what I'm about to say. But if you weren't and you wanted to, and you went up to that receptionist in that school and said, I want so and so's number, and then you send them in the appropriate send that child in the appropriate text or images and stuff, that's what it's to protect you against. Like, would you rather run the risk of the rigmarole of the school having to message the kid or the kid's parents for you to get in contact with the kid's parents, or would you prefer potentially your kids in school to see some fella's ballsack?
Yeah. And I get that, and you know, it's a good point, but I think if I was a weirdo, I could get that kid's parents' number one way or another. I mean, there's Facebook and Instagram, and you know, people's privacy these days is kind of it's not going to be kept safe by fucking GDPR, to be honest. No, I don't think so.
No, it's not, and I don't think it's there. It's not a deterrent, and it's not there'll be no more problems. It's just that there's regulations about it. It's like banks. I read something interesting, actually. It's a bit of a segue, but banks, you know, banks are heavily regulated, and there's the whole thing now currently of like, you know, how cryptocurrency isn't. So like, oh, it's a risk and stuff. But like the origins of banks being regulated were pretty insane. Like, I think it's the Bank of America, or one of the big banks in America. The reason that a lot of banking and financial laws in America began is because in the early 1900s, let's just use Bank of America as the example. I think it was them anyway. But like, they swayed like political revolution in Haiti by like inflation and not giving people money and stuff. So like, again, that's an extreme example, but GDPR is there as this is the right way to do it and this is the wrong way to do it, and it's a regulation rather than a
I mean, I get it, and I haven't thought it through, but I still think it's very annoying and a bit OTT. But I don't even remember how the fuck we got onto this. We were doing word association.
Well, I mean,
it was my fault.
We're at so much of a disagreement here that the game's ruined. And I don't want to play with you anymore.
Okay. Well, we can just end the call. End the call right there. Go fuck yourself.
That's the podcast. Can you imagine?
Oh,
sometimes sometimes I think it'd be quite artistic to just do that. You know, we've done loads of podcasts, but just to all jump on a Zoom and just say, yeah, don't fancy it this week. Do you? Nah. Do you? Nah. End it and publish that.
Yeah.
That would be cool, wouldn't it?
It would. Yeah. I wonder, would it be a first?
Maybe.
I don't know. I just feel like everything's been done, you know? But
yeah. Fucking GDPR. Everything's done.
Imagine like a 30-minute podcast of just that. I don't feel like it. Me neither. Go fuck yourself. See ya.
Just silence, yeah.
Maybe we'll do one of those as well on the offseason.
That would be cool. Yeah, in the offseason, like around Christmas, or Sure, this year it's going to be World Cup break, you know. So
yeah,
maybe that could be our World Cup podcast in like
that's
protest.
Yeah,
Nothing.
perfect.
Oh my god, we are like an imagination machine.
Brilliant. Right. Let's get
right,
going.
The game now.
Yeah.
Jeez, I really built this up. So you're clear on what it is, right?
We'll find out.
Okay. All right. 5 sub rule.
Ooh, a win for Klopp. That's how I feel about that.
That's fair.
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of backing Klopp because I'm biased.
Yep.
But it's a bit much, isn't it? 5 subs. It's a bit too much. It's changing half your team.
Yeah. I remember back in the COVID season, it made sense. And it was, it was a bit of novelty, wasn't it? It was something new to the game. And obviously with like our interest in fantasy football, that was cool too. I mean, the likelihood that, rotation will happen, but it's increasingly likely that people will get minutes and stuff, and it could change games massively. We saw that. I mean, Manchester United became a good team because of it. And it just, as a Palace fan, I think it doesn't favour the whole league fairly.
No.
I think it favours the bigger teams.
It does, spots. Of course. And that's the whole point. I think it's smart from a Premier League point of view because it favours the big teams, and you're probably going to see less injuries to like big players and things. But I mean, if, like you said, I don't want to say Palace, but like if you're Fulham now, it doesn't benefit you. You've definitely got at best probably 5 or 6 players that you're going to play every week. The other 5 or 6 might come in and out, but having 5 extra players to bring on, no. Like substitutions should be primarily for injuries or like slight tactical changes. You shouldn't be able to go, do you know what? My back 4 are having a fucking mare. Let's just change it for another back 4, which like in City's case is going to be a world-class back 4 or a front 5 or whatever, So it's kind of bollocks, but it will help the likes of Liverpool. So even though Liverpool's squad is a little thinner this year, I don't know will they make as much of it, but I'd hope you'd see players like Keita, say, benefit from it, because he can now come on and be guaranteed, 15, 20 minutes if he's not starting, which will just, keep their rhythm up and keep them fitter and all that kind of stuff. So a big biased thumbs up from me.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. I don't like it. But also with Pep as well, he was mad for it. He made on average 2 substitutes a game last year. Like, is he just not going to use them?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
And remind me, why did they bring in 5 subs initially for the COVID season? What was that about?
I think it was because of the lack of fitness. Because it was like complete lockdown, wasn't it? Between the end of when the season had to stop and when it began again, like teams weren't able to train with each other. There was a lot of remote fitness, and players were expected to keep fit like at home and stuff. Yeah. So I guess that made a bit more sense, because it's going to take you about 4 or 5 games realistically after how many months was it out? 4 or 5 months to kind of get some fitness back. So that made sense. Now I think it's just, hey, Klopp and Pep and Tuchel like this, so may as well do it.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good start, actually.
Yeah.
Next one, color.
Color. Rainbow.
Really?
Did you say color?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck do you want me to say? I don't know. Red.
Yeah, what's the first color that comes to mind? Yeah.
Oh, when you said color, I just thought of colors, and then I thought of a rainbow.
Well, that still works. Yeah, rainbow is good. It wasn't the one I was expecting.
I feel
most people say red. They always say red.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Someone somewhere is analyzing me real hard now.
Yeah. Once kids numbers, rainbow.
Oh my god! I
You
mean,
felt
that could have gone like bad as well. Like that could have gone really bad.
Yeah, it could have. Well, Flynn wins that round by default. He didn't even have to answer.
I thought there was no winners or points.
Well, there's losers.
So is it 1-1?
It's just you're losing. That's the key. That's the takeaway.
That's like going outside to kick a ball around and coming in and telling your mom you lost. Like, it's fucking bullshit.
Well, going off these answers, you probably did.
Well, I thought it was a creative answer. I thought it was all going to be football related.
Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. That's the test, Adrian, you know?
All right, well, I'll be more prepared now. Sorry, I've got to cleanse my mind. Right. Starting from zero. All right.
Increase the meds. Yeah.
Next one.
Okay. Salah.
King.
Yeah. You happy?
Very happy, yeah. I didn't think he was going to sign. I don't think anyone really thought he was going to sign. I don't know what changed. I know that they're saying that he was offered higher wages. I don't know why that happened. What I'm hearing, or reading anyway, is that with Origi gone, they used his wages to put towards Salah's wages. And that's where it came from. So they're not breaking the bank. Part of me would worry about an Aubameyang situation or an Ozil situation. I don't know why it would happen, because I think he's desperate to be top goal scorer every year. He's desperate to get that kind of Ballon d'Or or PFA award every year. So I don't see him falling off a cliff. I think he's going to have a big season because he won't be at the World Cup.
Yeah.
And when every other player comes back and has played an extra half dozen games or whatever, he'll have just been training, resting, training. And I think we'll see him have a much better second half of the season than probably anyone else. I do worry a little bit about him being paid so much more than other players. Like, if you're Van Dijk, I think Van Dijk is on 220 grand. Salah's on 350-ish. Maybe it's incentivized bonuses. Maybe it's kind of a 280 plus bonuses, massive bonuses for top goal scorer and things like that. But I mean, if you're Van Dijk doesn't get the headlines, but he's probably more important to the team than Salah.
Yeah.
So
I reckon, though, as a centre back, though, surely you have to concede that the attackers are going to get paid more. It's like a keeper. Keeper will nearly always be paid less than the outfield players. Doesn't mean they're less important.
Yeah.
So maybe that.
Yeah, and you know what? At some stage, they had to break their wage structure, and he's probably. I mean, to me, he's still the best player in the league, and if not, he's in the top 3 in the world. So when you've got a player that's special, I mean, fucking hell, just do what you can to hold on to him, and they'll have him now till he's past his peak, and if they get another Champions League or another league out of it, it'll have been worth every penny. If they don't, and if it goes as bad as it could, it'll be a massive disaster. Massive.
I agree, and like the wage structure scheme and whatnot. I mean, there was obviously an end goal for that. They weren't just doing that for nothing. The idea was to get players maybe cheaper before their peak and prime. Players like Salah is just the perfect example, isn't it? Where had all of the skill and the quality, hadn't actually really shown it until that season at Roma, when the kind of talks were already in play. Get a really good deal for it. If it doesn't work out, you haven't lost much. If it works out, it's fantastic. And I'm not a businessman. I don't own Liverpool, surprisingly, but I don't think they're sitting there being like, well, this is actually this will ruin us financially if we change this structure or this system, or that they haven't adapted it as things have gone on. They're not going to signpost to other teams that, hey, we've actually changed our approach now. You know, it's all getting done behind closed doors. It's worked extremely well for the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think as well, they're consistently up there now in the last few years. And to stay that consistency, you probably do have to expand your wage structure. I mean, I think their cap used to be kind of high, 180, 190. Then the last few years it pushed to 2-something, 210, 220. And now obviously it's a big jump. But that's probably what you have to do to be up there with the big boys. And I mean, they've gone from being worth, I think they were bought for fucking like 300 million. And they're worth about 2 billion now. So you have to grow your wage with the club. You know, it only makes sense. Like you can't keep paying players nothing and the value of the club goes up and up and up. So they had to do it sometime. It's weird that it's such a big jump so suddenly, but you know, maybe other players will look at Liverpool now and go, oh, I could move there. Because that was the only thing ever stopping signing big superstars was the wage cap, the wage limit.
Yep, that's it. You're going to evolve, you know, and I think that there's people saying, you know, kind of having a laugh, saying that, you know, Liverpool have obviously broken the bank because of this, but it's like, yeah, but two cups and a Champions League final kind of offsets that cost, in my opinion. But here we are.
And the same, I mean, there was a quote from Klopp came up about when United bought Pogba, saying something like, the day I spend 100 million on a player is the day I should quit. And then he bought Nunez for this supposed 100 million that it'll go up to. And fucking people are saying, you know, you said this, but like you said, the game is changing. Money is increasing. So Liverpool just have to move with it, and that's what they've done.
Yep. Trust Klopp. That's all I'll say.
Trust Klopp. And Julian Ward. Right. Next.
Julian Ward. Okay. Drink.
Beer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
I don't even like beer that much, so that was a bit of a weird one. It was just the first one that came into my head. I had some beers last night, so I didn't particularly like them, to be honest. Does anyone like the taste of beer? Like, really? Do they like the taste of beer?
Lager, no.
No. It's just kind of... It's the closest thing that I can imagine piss tastes like. It's just...
I think, if it's done right and it's poured from a tap, I think you can start to enjoy it after like the second one. You have to drink a pint of one first to kind of like, I don't know, get your system and your mouth used to it. And then it starts being okay. But that could also be because you're obviously getting a little bit more intoxicated as you go on. So
yeah, exactly.
Because I like stout. I love the taste of stout.
Yeah.
Cider's pretty nice too, in small quantities.
Yeah.
I could go drink 8 pints of cider.
But cider's just like Sidona, you know?
Yeah, sweet.
Stout I never got into. Again, the stout just tastes like shit to me. I'd never sit and drink stout and be like, yum. I just drink it for the effect, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. No, I loved an old creamy stout, you know?
Yeah,
like you're having a bit of a milkshake, you know? Yep. Bit of shtick on the glass, you know yourself.
Yeah. Look to the horizon.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, yeah.
You saw that, right?
Yeah. Take a deep breath as a proud man. Look to the horizon.
Anyone who hasn't seen that, it's like the Guinness storehouse manager or something. I don't know who he is, pouring the perfect pint. A lot of alliteration there. Yeah, it's like a 6-step pour. And the final step is just stand proud, look to the horizon. Like one of the steps is standing proud.
And isn't there a point where, like, you know, you do the first pour and you leave it set, where he says, like, and you lay that glass with the Guinness label facing outward in front of the paying customer. You look them in the eye as that pint settles. You're like, why is this
turning erotic?
So sexual.
Look him deep in the eye. Lick your lips.
It's too sexual. It's too sexual for a pint of Guinness. Considering that 90% of the people that drink Guinness are like stinky farmers, like
fucking old men, like Closet homos. That's what it is.
Shit. Stout came to my mind first. I must be a closet homo.
Right. Next.
Very good. God, I've lost my way. VAR.
Ooh, the first thing I thought was good, and then the second thing I thought was bad.
Ooh, very, very descriptive.
Because I think I've always backed VAR. I don't even know anymore what I believe, but I think I fucking backed it until the last podcast when I said that we lost the league because of the fucking Everton City handball thing. So this is the thing. Look, it should be there because the amount of fucking controversies, balls crossing lines and wrong offsides, wrong decisions on penalties, it should be there. And it's getting there. But there's still just such... I don't know. Like there's so many issues. There's the clear and obvious thing. There's are the lines right? Like sometimes, honestly, the Liverpool and Chelsea League Cup final, Chelsea had about 8 offsides. That's a guess. It could have been only like 3, but it felt like they had about 5 clear-cut chances ruled offside that just didn't look offside. Now, factually, they were offside, but like they're not really showing us. They're just saying, no, it's offside. Look at the lines. Trust us. You're kind of going, but what, and whatever happened to being level? And then there's the fucking handball thing, and was it deliberate? No, it wasn't deliberate, but was in an what do they say? An unusual unnatural position. Yeah. Where is your arm in a natural position? Do you know, if you're running for the ball, your arm is going to be somewhere. Raheem Sterling's arms are fucking flapping around the place when he runs. Is that unnatural? So there's a lot of issues with it, but I think it's the right thing to have. Oh, sorry, I just banged my microphone. I don't know if you heard it. But I think it's the right thing to have. I think it has to be there, but they need to tidy it up a little bit. Looks like there's stuff being done in this new World Cup, like automated. It's more automated than just 3 lads in a booth, but we'll see if that's better or worse.
Yeah, that's what prompted me to ask that, is the new introduction. Which, again, it's like, why are we continually kind of blindsided by these changes or these updates? Kind of just sneak them in. And, I mean, maybe we were a bit skeptical before, do you remember when the ref has the wrist that vibrates if the ball goes over the line? Hoping it's the same as that. Yeah. But again, we're putting important games at risk because of improvements, and I'm not against improving the game. I think it was fine as it was, to be honest. But maybe that's me being, old about it. I thought the game didn't really need these changes. I thought we just needed better referees, and I stand by that. But all these changes, it seems to happen, even last year too. I mean, it's a bit of a reach, I know, to say that Liverpool lost the Premier League because of the handball that the whole world saw, except VAR, apparently, in the Man City Everton game. But at the end of the day, it did play a part, and these things are being introduced to try and eradicate that. And now there's a spotlight on every single decision, every single error, and it's probably no more or no less than what we had 20 years ago in the game, but it just feels like we're seeing more and more things wrong, more and more things where fans are completely divided by them, which maybe that's the idea. Maybe they want to generate, I don't know, popularity of the game still, but I don't think the World Cup should be the place that you're doing this. Throw it in for, I don't know, the Conference League would have been a perfect, new competition. Throw it in there, see how it goes.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think, I'm sure you've seen, there's a clip going around somewhere of, I think it's an Australian league game where the referee is mic'd up, and you can just hear him explain all the decisions. You can hear what he's saying to the players, and it just makes such a difference because there's not that confusion. Even the Champions League final, Real Madrid scored a goal in the first half that was ruled out offside. It took about 5 minutes for them to decide. And you're all just standing there, they're sitting there, going, what the fuck are they looking for? And the commentators are guessing, but if you're in a pub, you probably can't hear them, so you're just sat there going. We were watching it and we didn't fucking know. We were like, no clue.
Yeah, and that's us at home watching it on a screen where there's replays. If you're in that stadium, you see nothing.
Yeah,
you literally stand there for 5 minutes while the players have a water break, and there's a purple sign on the scoreboard.
Yeah. But what I will say is, when I think of VAR, I also think of all the times that VAR was there. I'd have, as a fan, benefited. The fucking, the Henry handball against Ireland. I mean, that would have been caught straight away. Fucking, I had a few more. I do actually remember the season that Liverpool lost the league to the Gerrard slip. Liverpool played Man City that season, and everyone forgets that Raheem Sterling was put straight through on goal, rounded the keeper, and finished. And they went on to lose that game 1-0. Now, if he had scored that, obviously the game could have been totally different. Liverpool might have lost 4-1, we don't know. But they'd have been in a much better position. And if they had even drawn that game, I think they'd have gone on to win the league. So even little things like that, I'm sure everyone can think of examples, but I think it's a good thing overall, but definitely it probably should be trialed elsewhere than the biggest fucking stage of them all.
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
Yes. We won't talk about Vince McMahon was going to be my next one.
Yeah. Perfect.
Racist.
You're going to take a quick sip, pull the liquid through under the head, and watch that flavour explode. Sweetness at the front, roastiness at the side, and bitterness as it goes down the back of the throat. Smooth, cascading.
Insane. It's insane.
Super. We're back at it.
Back at it. Are you doing a bit of podcasting?
We sure are.
We sure are. All right. Cool. We got two more.
Two more. Good.
All right. Cool. Fear.
Spiders.
Number one.
I think so. Yeah. I'm really bad with heights as well. I don't really know why. I don't like flying, but it's heights. Like I won't go up on a big tall building. And I don't know what my cutoff is either with that. Like, I don't mind being on a 4-story building, 5-story building, like 20-story. No, so I don't actually know where the cutoff is. I'm like, this is cool, because I know some people like don't like going over bridges and stuff. That shit doesn't really bother me. But flying, definitely. I don't know. Have you ever been like up like in the Alps where you're like going up a road, up these mountains, and the road basically kind of winds its way up the side of a mountain, and even though it's kind of a slope to like the ground level, whatever, it's still quite steep, and it feels very much like a cliff. I hate that. Even something that like even I'd only roll down the fucking hill like. But I hate it. I hate being so high up that you can see like a car in the distance and it's teeny tiny. Don't like that stuff. But I think spiders, at least with heights, I can, like, I've gone on planes and whatever. If there was a big, proper house spider, the it's not the ones with the big bodies. They don't bother me. It's not the fucking little daddy long legs ones. It's the big fucking brown house spiders that are, they can be like 3 inches wide.
Yeah.
Those ones are the worst. There's no way in hell I could go near one. Pretty much any other spider, I'll at least hoover it up. Those ones, not. They're too quick, and if they came at me, I'd probably die.
Yeah, those are unpredictable ones. And like they're so tame compared to what you can get on other continents or other countries, but they are bad boys.
2 seconds there. Can you hear me when I mute? Can I just check?
Yeah. Just tell me when.
Did you hear me say ba 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 ba?
No.
Oh, that's okay. Because my chair is rocking and it's creaking. So when I'm moving, I'm trying to mute. But just there, I couldn't tell if you stopped because I was creaking or if it was just a delay. So it's fine.
Cool. Yeah, those spiders aren't the best. I don't think spiders would be my fear. I share your fear of heights, all right? And I think it's the instability. It's not having faith in like the road or the bridge or the plane. All these things are obviously safe. It's just that, if something went wrong, it'd go very wrong, and you wouldn't live to tell the tale, most likely.
I heard that everyone is born with like two natural fears, and one is falling and one is loud noises. Which is interesting because the falling is kind of in with the heights,
Yes, and it's common with babies that are like breastfeeding and stuff. To stop them, it was the feeling of not latching onto something or not having the mother's cradle or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Because if you fall away from the teat, you don't come back.
That nip.
That nip is gone.
Babies love their nips.
Teat. Thin. All right, we'll round things off. We'll go on a high note because I've enjoyed this. Pet.
Mo.
Yeah. You know why.
Oh,
set you up.
Oh,
Take it
yeah.
away.
So I got a new pet. I adopted a retired Greyhound. So Greyhounds are obviously bred to race and be fast, but I think by the age of about 3, they're too old. 3 or 4. So the breeders don't really know what to do with them, so they just give them away. And I think there was traditionally that a bit like that there might be some animal cruelty, that they might just be shot or put down or something. But I think now they're really good pets because they're lazy as fuck. So we adopted one, and his given name was Mo. So it's nothing to do with me supporting Liverpool. That was his name, but it was like Fate or something. But they're really big. You don't realize how big they are. Because in photos and stuff, they look like medium-sized dog. Mo is fucking massive. He's really big. Like his shits are like human-sized shits. Like, honest to God, he's a monster. But really, he's like a gentle giant. And they're used to being walked. They're used to being like on leads and stuff. So they're like kind of ready trained. So if anyone's looking at adopting a dog, fucking look at a Greyhound. And they're really good for allergies. Because Sonia's allergic. But because they don't have an undercoat, they don't really shed much. And they just don't trigger allergies as much. So he's really nice. But like we brought him for a 20-minute walk. And he was like panting for about 45 minutes after, because they're not bred to be athletes. Like they're just bred for short, quick bursts of speed. They're not bred for stamina. So if you have one, don't expect to be walking 20 minutes a day, because the dog just won't fucking do it. They'll just give up.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Most of the time, people, when they get a dog, they're like, "Oh my God, I've never walked so much. Like, there's so much energy." It's kind of like the opposite.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Yeah, they're known as like 60-kilometer couch potatoes, and that's exactly what they are. Like if he runs at you, it's scary because he runs so fast, but he's probably not going to run again for the rest of the day after like a 3-second run.
I mean, I can relate.
Yeah. It's very, very like us.
Maybe he wants to be on the podcast. Is that diverse? I think that's diverse.
He's a male, so I think we'd get hammered by the feminists.
These intros just write themselves. That's good.
Let's talk about transfers, because I want to see what you rate. Will we just go through some of the big transfers and say whether we rate them or not?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Will we give a thumbs up or thumbs down, or will we give them an out of 10? How will we rate this?
Let's do an out of 3.
Oh, Okay, I like it. Okay.
Is one good or bad though?
One is bad.
Okay.
One is bad. Three is the best, and then two is like unsure, I guess.
Okay, cool.
All right. Will we just shout them out, or do you have some?
I don't have many prepared off the top. I only know the bigger ones.
Let's just shout them out. So yeah, just some of the bigger ones. Let's start nice and high. Haaland.
2 for me.
Ooh, I don't want to be boring. I'll give it a 3.
Okay.
I think he could be really good. The only thing is his injury record, but I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, that's the thing. I want to go 2 just because I mentioned it on the last podcast, but there's very hit and miss players from the Bundesliga currently, and I don't know. Usually, these really, really big mega signings, it goes 2 ways. You know, he might be phenomenal. He might just be the end of the Premier League as we know it, and he breaks all records. Salah never gets a sniff at the golden boot ever again. Or he can be injured. He can fall out with Pep Guardiola, which I think might happen because he's a bit of a character by all accounts, and a bit of a temper too. So that's why I'm marking him a 2 for maybe unsure, unknown.
Okay. Do you have some, or will I just shout?
Should go for it.
All right. Richarlison.
3.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give him a 2, but why do you say 3?
Because I think it's less about Richarlison going to Spurs. I think it's more like for Spurs where my ranking is coming from. Spurs have always had good like first team players. They've always they've had Son and Kane for ages. But then like when you're looking at the replacements, like Bergwijn or those kind of lads, there's not much about them really, is there? They're a bit hit and miss. Whereas I don't think Richarlison even is a starter for Spurs. But would you prefer Richarlison starting for you in like the Champions League easier games, or in the cup games, or the games where you need to rotate? It's going to be a fixture congested season again.
Mm-hmm.
Richarlison's not a bad option at all, and I think Spurs have really done well to strengthen this off-season.
Yeah, I agree pretty much with everything. The reason I wouldn't go for 3, because obviously he can do it in the Premier League. He's not going to be starting ahead of Harry Kane as the main striker.
Yeah.
And then he plays off the left sometimes, but he's not going to start ahead of Son. So have they paid 60 million for a player that's going to be on the bench? That's where I'm a bit like, I don't see how he fits in.
Yeah, that's true.
And
the price tag, yeah. A lot to live up for.
But I agree that it's building their squad. But I mean, they have Perisic and they have Kulusevski as well. So 2 more wide men. So I just don't know if they needed it. But it probably is backup striker to Harry Kane. But 60 million for a backup striker is fucking steep enough.
That's true. They did overpay. And that's a lot of Everton. Everton was spunked away on some shit as well. That's probably good. The funniest thing from all of this.
Tarkowski?
Yeah. Yeah, but look, they fucking Dele Alli. Like,
that's true.
What a mistake that was.
Yeah, they've really fucked that.
Yeah. But no, I'm gonna say 3 because I think overall,
okay,
they'll do well.
While we're on it, Tarkowski.
1.
Oh, 1. Was he free?
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I'm keen on if Palace signed. I'm gonna someone will prove this wrong. I'm sure if Palace signed a centre-back from a team that got relegated. I'm not sure how hot I'd be about that. I mean, they got relegated, and it's usually the defender's fault teams get relegated.
Yeah.
And Everton nearly got relegated too. They were very close to getting it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually, I'll go with you. I'll say 1. I think he's past it. And
yeah,
I don't know, is he better than what they have? I mean, he's fine, but Everton need to build on being a bit shit, and fine isn't much better than shit. So we'll give it a 1. Yeah. Nunez. There's an accent somewhere in his name, so I don't know if it's just Nunez or Nunez or Nunez, but I'm sure there's something with a bit of an E where you don't expect it. So, but for now, let's just say Nunez.
Nunez, yeah, I think it's I mean, we won't get too fancy on this podcast.
Okay.
What do I reckon? 3.
Nice. I'm gonna go with 3 as well. Why do you say 3?
I think from what I've seen from him, and I do remember him from the Champions League game earlier at Anfield. Like he's electric. Like he's a big lad, but he's fast. He's skillful, and he's obviously a good finisher. I think that this sounds mad, but I think people are sleeping on Liverpool again. I think people are writing them off already. I mean, fucking hell, Luis Diaz it was like a Dr. Water in the Premier League. It was brilliant. Yeah, Mane's gone, but this Nunez guy, Salah, Diaz. I mean, I don't want any of the 3 of those running at the Palace backline. Like that's not the comfort zone. And I think they'll complement each other. And I think now Mane's out of the picture. Maybe Mane was the one that was cut. We saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Bit selfish, bit moany, bit whingy. Cut the rut and injected it with some cocaine Colombian and some Luis Suarez reincarnated Uruguayan up front.
Yeah, nice. I agree. I think for the most part, Liverpool haven't spent big and had it not work out. So I think they really know what they're doing. I mean, Naby Keita is the only one, and even he hasn't been a total flop. But like the big money, the Alisson, the Van Dijks, the Diaz, it's all worked out. So if they're paying 60 million up front for this guy, I think they're pretty confident he'll be good. And they're rarely wrong. So I think it's going to be a 3 as well.
Ben, just on that too, like those Portuguese teams, Porto, Benfica, and Sporting Lisbon, I saw earlier today, their turnover in terms of profit from transfers is in like the couple 100 million each.
Yeah,
like that. The Porto team has been absolutely cleaned out this summer, and they'll still be a competitive team in Europe in the next year or two. But so many players are coming from Benfica, Lisbon, and Porto for massive bucks. Even just think of Nunes there. Bruno Fernandes is another one, big bucks recently. So just loads of players like that. They're absolutely turning academy players into 80+ million signings. It's quite impressive.
Yeah. They don't get the respect they deserve, really, but they get absolutely tonked every year in the Champions League, so that's why.
Yeah, exactly.
Gabriel Jesus.
Oh, I think if Flynn was there, I think he'd actually say 2. I think he would.
Well, we can't be putting words in his mouth now, but let's just say he'd say 2.
Yeah.
What are you saying? What are you saying? You're here. You're not in the Women's World Cup.
No, I'm not. No, they wouldn't let me in. Something about 200 meters or something. But yeah, I'm going to say 2 as well. I'm going to say 2.
Okay.
But I'm bottling my answer. Sorry.
No. But go ahead. Why do you think it's only a 2 out of 3 for Gabriel Jesus to Arsenal?
Because I think Arsenal recently are the problem for strikers not being great, rather than the strikers not being great for Arsenal.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't really have much more to build on it than that, really. But this is Jesus' time to shine. He's obviously wanted first team football. He's grabbed every single opportunity he can at City, and I thought he's played really well when he got the chance. And Pep obviously just doesn't want a striker, doesn't want to play that way of football. So it could mean that he's landing at the perfect fit, and he goes on and he's like a 15 to 20 goal a season guy. But maybe Pep was right, the wanker.
I'm giving him a 3. I think he'll be really good. I think you kind of touched on it. I don't think he was really given a fair shot at City. Has he ever had a run of 10, 15 games? I don't think so. He was always meant to be the guy to come in after Aguero, and he wasn't given the chance. So I think he will be given the chance, and I think he will be a 15, 20 goal striker for Arsenal. I just can't see it going any other way. I think he's too good.
Well, for Flynn's sake, I hope you're right.
Yeah, I think I am. We can't rank any of Chelsea or Man United's signings right now because they fucking haven't got any.
Love 3s across the board. That's well done.
Is there any other big have Newcastle signed anyone big?
They got a fella from Lens, and they got Nick Pope from Burnley.
Nick Pope? I mean, that's a big fat 2 right there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Nick Pope is boring at Burnley. He's even more boring now. I do feel a little bit bad for Dubravka now, though. I thought he was a very decent keeper, and to kind of get pushed aside. But again, a lot of Newcastle players are about to get pushed aside quite heavily in the next few years. So can't feel too sentimental.
Yeah,
for them,
I mean, no, he'll fall where he should fall.
The pit.
Yeah, and there hasn't really been any other major signings, I don't think.
Well, no, Palace have signed Sam Johnston, which I'm quite happy about.
Fuck off.
Really, yeah.
The Sam Johnston?
You have it spot on, yep.
Oh my God. Wow.
I know. Yep.
Wow. And how do you feel he is going to perform in his respective position on the pitch?
Well, he's a goalkeeper, number one.
Of course, yeah.
Palace have had a really good track record of having competitive keepers. So there is a number one, but I was going to say number 2, but it's not the right back. The number 13 usually is very competitive too. If you look back, like Speroni, Hennessy, Gaeta, Butland, now Sam Johnston, it's worked for us. I think a lot of teams struggle when their first choice keeper goes injured or whatever. So I'm pleased with it. And again, another free signing from West Brom. They must absolutely hate us.
Yes. And of course, for those who have forgotten, Sam Johnston with a T, right?
With a yes.
Sam Johnston. It's not Johnson.
No, it's a Johnston.
No, he is the guy who was kind of 4th choice England keeper.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Just in case anyone was unsure.
No, that's him. Former United player. Played about 3 times for him, something like that.
Yeah. Sounds like a solid shout. Didn't you sign Butland there last season as well?
I think it was 2 years ago, and I think he is pushing for first team football. So if his contract hasn't expired, which I don't think he is, I think he might be putting the feelers out.
All these old, like formerly great England keepers that are just fucking being let go and signing on frees from places. It's mad.
But see, they're a commodity now, English keepers, because look at City, like Scott Carson, for example. Like they're just being used for the English quota. Yeah. So they are quite desirable. You know, you could get yourself 3 English keepers. Mm-hmm. They don't get paid a lot, but that's 3 towards your, I don't know, what you need, 7, 5, I can't remember, in your squad. So
yeah, it's just mad how there's so many like good England keepers, and then Pickford is still number 1. Like he's just so bad.
I know. I'm looking through like the transfer histories on FootMob. Gylfi Sigurdsson's a free agent. Isn't that a name that conveniently everyone forgot.
Yeah, he came up in a goal compilation I was watching recently, and I thought of him. That went very quick, very
Didn't
quick. It? So presumably he's a rapist. And that's the end of that.
Same as Greenwood,
Yeah,
it just went silent, and I think that means it's pretty much a thing, right?
Yeah, that's how I would interpret that too. Yeah.
Yikes!
Yeah. Moving swiftly along.
Yes.
Do you know what? I actually can't, because I can't think of another single big signing. Liverpool have signed a backup right back and a young lad from Fulham. I don't think they're even worth rating, because I don't think they'll feature much. Chelsea haven't done anything. Did Arsenal sign someone else? Lots of talk of Rafinha, didn't happen.
Yeah, Rafinha's is, well, don't want to outdate this podcast, but it looks like it was going to Barcelona initially, then Arsenal hijacked, and now Chelsea have hijacked Arsenal. Unfortunate.
And then, but Barcelona have hijacked it again, I thought.
Yeah, Rafinha's a slut.
Yeah, he's just being passed around.
Yeah,
oh yeah, go on.
I was going to say two bigger ones that were kind of like happened very early but never were confirmed until now. But Lukaku going back to Inter, and Mane. Yeah, I know we spoke a little bit about Mane, but like the Lukaku one is ridiculous.
I mean,
97 million or whatever it was.
I mean, I guess we can rate that from a Chelsea point of view and just give it a 0. 0.
Yeah, 0.
It's one of the worst deals ever. I mean, you talk about Andy Carroll to Liverpool being like one of the worst ever. This Lukaku to Chelsea for 100 million, scoring 5 goals or something.
Yeah.
And then being shipped back where he came from is diabolical. And it's pretty fucking funny.
How many fucking times is he going to go to Chelsea and it not work?
Yeah. I love that. Like, I've got unfinished business here. Yeah, you still have unfinished business, and he'll come. He's only 24 or something. He'll come back to the Premier League again with this. I've got unfinished business here, and he'll make a fucking balls of it again. Because he's pretty shit. Dinner. He's shit. Yeah.
Yeah, rubbish.
You'd rate it the same, I guess.
Yeah, probably minus numbers, minus 90, because that's how much Chelsea lost in that transaction.
Minus 90 million.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 3, Lukaku gets a minus 90 million.
Fuck's sake.
And Mane, okay. Oh God. I mean, from a Liverpool perspective, it's a 1. From a Bayern perspective, it's a 3. He'll fucking have great crack in the Bundesliga, I think. Like, I can only see him scoring a bucket load of goals. He might even play through the middle instead of Lewandowski, because that's where he kind of finished the season for Liverpool, and he was doing really well. He's at his peak. Well, he was probably slightly better a couple of years ago, but he had a really good season. So yeah, it's a shame for Liverpool, but if you were to lose one of Diaz, Mane, or Salah, it would have been Mane probably.
Yeah, completely. And, you know, he had a good time. He had a
great time. He had a really wonderful time. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
He'll look back and he'll say that was good crack.
Yeah.
And I saw him score one of the worst bicycle kicks, if you could call it that, live against Norwich. But great crack. Great crack.
Yeah.
Fab hair. Best hair.
Yes. It's funny, like, he was receding very badly from when Liverpool signed him, but it never receded anymore.
No.
So who's laughing now?
Yeah. He's yeah, he's him and Firmino. I can see if I sported any other group or any other group, any other team, I'd look at those players and be like, what fucking losers. Like, what wankers. I hate them. I hate the look of them. I fucking hate the way they play. I just hate them. But because they do or did play for Liverpool, I think they're sound out.
Yeah.
Good goal celebrations, good hair, good neck tattoos. You know, it's all great stuff.
Yeah. No complaints. None from me.
No. I've got one last one because I don't think any of us will know how to rate this, but Perisic.
Yeah.
Strange one.
Very strange. Very strange.
We'll give a question mark out of 3.
I'd nearly say 1.
Was he free?
I believe so.
Yeah, it was free. Conte would have worked with him at Inter.
It's these Italian managers, man. They just they're basically Neil Warnock in Italian. They just drag around the same fucking players wherever they go.
Yeah.
It's as if they're like, I owe you one. You bought me the last round to come join Spurs. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, is he 33?
Yeah. 33.
That's a bit old.
It is. He's on a take. This is it. Is it like a kind of, hey, look, no one else wants you, but look, we'll get you a decent wage there. See yourself out.
Yeah. Years. It's a bit old to be adapting to the Premier League. He's coming from Italy. He's probably not as quick as he used to be. I think he'll be a decent squad player for free. You know, I'll give him a 2. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna start for them much. But Champions League, you know, they'll have a few more games, so he'll get a bit of ball. He'll score maybe a couple of goals, but
yeah. Don't get me wrong. I really like Perisic, and I always did. Just from like FIFA, just from his time. A lot of different clubs. Like he was at Dortmund, Wolfsburg when we played that fantastic season with them on FIFA. Inter and Bayern, you know. So he's featured as well as the successes. Well, you know, the almost successes with Croatia and that over the years, but it just doesn't make sense. They don't need a left winger or a left midfielder, and if they play him left back, then he's like ahead of like. Is Emerson left back, and they have Sessegnon as well there. It just
did Doherty play there?
You know, they don't need wing backs.
Emerson. Who's that other wing back they had? The Brazilian.
Emerson, isn't it? Emerson Royale.
Oh no, not him. The other one. I had him in the draft. Fucking hell! Remember we did a trade for him.
Oh, gives it A, doesn't it?
Ah, Jesus.
Yeah, this is awful. I'm not cutting this.
No, you have to cut this.
1 second, let me check.
Spurs left back.
Ben Dave, no.
Regulon.
Yeah, wanker.
Plain old regular Regulon.
Regular Leon.
Yeah, I put so much effort into Nunez, and now I'm not even saying this guy's name right. Regulon. Well, that was fucking butchered. Where is he from? Is he French?
Argentina? No.
For fuck's sake. Anyway, another classic example of thorough research by the PUPcast.
Yeah. Well, you got what you paid for, lads. So.
Yeah. Upgrade to fucking PUPcast. PUPcast.
PUPcast. Yeah.
PUPcast Prime. To get the special behind the scenes look at everything we do in the PUPcast HQ.
Yeah, can you imagine? Do you know how like people do that through like Patreon and stuff? Like,
yeah.
They're like, oh, we'll show you all the extra stuff. It's like I'm not sure how interesting some of the shit they're selling is.
I know.
I get support in the channel, but like I'm not sure if there's any more I want from you than this video or this podcast.
I love looking at those Patreons, and you know you can like do tier 1, which is like €2 a month or something, and then it's €5 a month, €10 a month, but they go up to like €100 a month, and you're like, fucking hell, that's serious dough. Like to be giving €100 a month to this lad, but they keep going. Some of them you can it's like a platinum tier, fucking $1,000 a month. And it's like, with this, you get all that's below, plus a personalized message every week plus on your birthday. It's like for $1,000 a month, you're sending me a happy birthday. Like, fucking hell. Like, you'd wonder, do people actually love these guys so much that they're paying them like $2,000 a month? And I'm not talking about like PewDiePie and all these guys. These are just guys who have like 500,000 subscribers, which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things, you know.
Yeah,
$2,000 a month. Get a grip.
There's a madness out there. But there must, or else why would you have it?
Well, maybe they're just chancing their arm that like a fucking billionaire will like one of their videos and just subscribe. You know,
or someone misclicks or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like they think it's like, oh, it's 1,000 yen. Great, sign me up.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Fuck. We'll just set up a Patreon, put a $2,000 donation, and see if some fucking hacker hacks into someone, and I don't know. You never know.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, there's probably as much of a chance as winning the lotto.
$1,000 a month, you can. Yeah, for $1,000 a month, you can listen to the podcast that's free on Facebook, free on Spotify and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Someone might click on it.
You never know. Just put a really tiny donate button somewhere.
Yeah, because we do need to fund Flynn's venture to the Women's World Cup.
Yeah,
that wasn't cheap. Like, I mean, that set us back about 6 years in YouTube ad revenue.
Yeah, I know, but we get to write it off as expenses, so it's all good.
Because we're diverse now.
That's how it works, isn't it?
Yes, I'm not an accountant.
Let's
but
just
I'm not
get
paying
a
for it.
PUPcast credit card, and we'll just throw it on the company card. We'll deal with it in 20 years.
It's basically free money.
Free money, yeah. That's what everyone does.
Yeah, it's like buying Perisic. You know, it pays for itself.
Yeah, put it down as an expense.
Yeah.
when you're doing your tax credits, just a big block capitals Perisic. give Daniel Levy back a bit of cash there for the Perisic deal.
Yeah. How much does he want? Just a ticket for the women's cup final. That's all.
This nonsense is showing just how much I know about taxes and expenses. So that's why I will never be a small business owner, or maybe never do taxes. Who knows?
Yeah. In hindsight, you never should have been the treasurer for the podcast, but here we are.
Ah, well, sure, we'll figure it out. We're out of time.
We are up the fucking palace.
Up
that was great.
The fucking PUPcast.
Up the fucking PUPcast. Flynn, have a fantastic tournament and support our Patreon soon.
Yeah,
please.
And who do we think is going to win the Women's World Cup?
Definitely England, America, or Sweden or Germany.
There you go. You heard it here first. Sweden are going to win the Women's World Cup, along with England, USA, and Germany.
Yeah, up the women's football.
Up the women's football.
You've been listening to the Put 'em Under Pressure podcast. For more of our content, make sure that you follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Facebook. Outro music.